Emma, and welcome to the third episode of the Worsted Willow Podcast. I'm a knitter and crocheter, and I'll be sharing all my making related things here on the channel. You can also find me on Instagram and Ravelry at Worsted Willow. I try to keep up to date with both of those and make sure I have project pages for all the projects that I talk about. So there's that. I'll just start jumping right in with finished objects and what I'm wearing. This is not a recent finished object. This is actually one of my very first finished objects. So I'm not wearing any knitted shirt this time, but I am wearing a knitted cowl. This was, I think, my second or third knitted project, but it is the Extra Owl Cowl by Nina Chicago, and it was made with Blue Sky Extra in buttercream and less traveled yarn Baby Surrey in Forest Floor. So it was one strand of worsted weight with two strands of lace held together, and I love it. It's my primary scarf I pull out in the winter. It's so cozy and squishy and warm. Definitely a staple for me. And I also chose it last year because I really needed to work on purl stitching, and this is garter stitch in the round, so I was like, okay, that'll be a lot of purl stitching and I can kind of get better at it. Not a huge fan of working garter stitch in the round. I can't knit back and forth, which is sad. So, but I did get a little bit more comfortable with purling by doing it. I actually don't purl the same way that I did when I made this. I'm a continental knitter, so when I made this I was doing the kind of typical pulling the yarn forward and wrapping it around like that, except I was holding my yarn a little bit weird. That was how I was holding my yarn when I crochet, and I kind of changed that sense with knitting. In crochet I have my yarn sort of wrapping around and coming off the back of my finger. With knitting I have it come off the front of my finger, which did help. But I now also use the Norwegian purl method, so instead of moving this finger back and forth to get the yarn to move in front of the needle, you actually hold that in place and use the needle to move the yarn in front and then do this little twisting motion. I learned it through a video by Arnie and Carlos, so if you're not comfortable with purling and you're looking to try some other methods, highly recommend checking that out. It was a little slower and tedious at first, but now it's definitely the primary way I purl. And I feel like I get pretty consistent tension since I'm keeping the yarn in the same place for it. Yeah, that's this project. It matches the coat I wear for winter, so I wear it pretty much all the time, and it's very easy to throw on. So that's what I'm wearing today. On to my one and only FO for the week. I have been slammed with MKAL knitting, so that has pretty much been my entire week of knitting has been into the MKAL, but I decided on Tuesday, so about 3 days ago. I'm filming this on Friday, so Tuesday I was like, I need a break. I cannot sit and work on the MKAL all day again today, and it's my mom's birthday coming up this weekend, so I decided I would make her gift as a little mental break from MKAL knitting. So I did the Purl Beret by Purl Soho and finished it all on Tuesday. I cast it on during my lunch break, and then I use a Pomodoro timer during work, which basically means I work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, so then I can do knitting and not really worry about it because it's timed. And then knitted all evening and bound off right before bed and walked it in the morning. So super quick project, and this is how it turned out. So this is the Purl Soho, or the Purl Beret by Purl Soho. Very straightforward, simple pattern. You just kind of work about 1 inch of ribbing, work some stockinette flat, and then decrease in, and it also has this little like I-cord nub as a decoration on the end. There's also so much of my hair and some cat hair in it, but I use the yarn I got a few weeks ago in Hastings, Minnesota. So that is the Muse 2320 Fiber Co. In the Sandpiper base, which is Blue Face Leicester Donegal sock. It's a fingering weight yarn, tweed yarn, and it's 85% superwash Blue Face Leicester, and then 15% NEP, which is the tweed. So, it's in the color Stone. I only used like 30 grams of it, so I have a lot left. I might make myself a matching one, or try to figure out a smaller project I can make for my mom with the leftover yarn to have something matching to the hat. But for now, it's just a hat. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I will be making myself one at one point. I'll try it on so you guys can see it. But I love how berets look. And this one's just like a very simple, classic beret. I have some like plain purple yarn back there, so I might make more of a purpley color one to sort of go with what I typically wear, but I also really like the gray tweed. Yeah, I mean, being able to knit it in a day definitely will also make myself one at one point. But yeah, this was a really good mental break from MKAL knitting, and definitely a much needed break because that's been quite a bit. But yeah, so that's my 1FO for the week. On to whips. Pretty much just the same whips. I did have one new cast on. It kind of goes with my acquisitions though, so I will leave that for now. But to start off with, I have my Luna tee, which I did get a decent amount of work done on it. I took the train last weekend to visit family, and so I brought my Luna tee with me to have on the train. I always get a lot of knitting done on the train. When I'm in a car, I don't tend to get as much knitting done. I think just usually because I'm navigating and with someone else, so I don't tend to do as much knitting, but when I'm on the train, I just sort of put my headphones in and hunker down and knit. So I got a lot done. So this is what it looks like. We're like almost a full body now. So here was my, I'll turn it this way so you can see it better, but here was my stitch marker from where I was last week, and I did all of this on the train, so about 4 to 5 inches, and I'm over halfway through the decreases now, so I'm over halfway through the body, which is really exciting. But yeah, so about 3 to 4 hours of train knitting. Super easy because it's in broken ribbon. I'm just doing the body and just need to remember where to do my decreases. So yeah, I'm really excited with it. Not in a like major rush to finish this at this point, but I will be in the office a lot next week, and like I said before, this kind of gives me businessy shirt vibes. So potentially we'll try to finish that up. I have some more train rides coming up this weekend. And I know the sleeves, they're just like little cap sleeves, so it shouldn't be too much knitting once I get to that. So if I can finish the body this weekend, I could definitely get the shirt done and ready to wear mid next week to work, and also in the podcast. So maybe a slight goal, but nothing I'm holding myself to because it's not a super high priority knit at this point. But it is something I would like to get done and off the needles. But MKAL's been taking over my life, as I've already said so many times, so we'll see. Maybe I'll prioritize this instead of casting on some quicker projects. But yeah, so that is my Luna tee. I will now go on to my MKAL, since that's my other whip for the week. I have started going into Clue 2. Clue 3 released yesterday, so I will be talking about both of those. So if you don't want any spoilers, I'll put a photos here of where you should skip to and also put it in the chapter notes. So I'll just let anyone who wants to skip ahead. And now I'll go into my MKAL. So I did do quite a bit of knitting on it, but I'm still a little behind from where I would want to be. But I have made it into Clue 2, and I finished section 2 and am on my way through section 3. So I have gotten to add my accent color in, which is super exciting. And sorry, I'm just trying to untangle this out of my project bag. But this is my MKAL so far. So here, I'll show you the finished side first. So this is what the left side wing looks like. So I finally have my accent color in there, and I really love the purple and the orange together, and getting to see that accent color kind of pulling into the accent color pulling into the contrast color as well. So that is where I'm at with that. I think last week I was like here or so on Clue 1. So I got all of this on Clue 1, an entire wing done, and I'm a little bit over halfway done with this wing. So I think that's pretty good. That's a lot of knitting. So Clue 2 is definitely going a lot faster, which I'm excited about. I am making some pretty hefty modifications to this right side wing. If you're doing the MKAL, you know that the right side wing is written in a way where you purl all the garter stitches instead of knit all the garter stitches. So I went into the forums and tried to figure out a way to not have to do all that purling, and there was some modifications. It's not an exact replica of the other side like it would be if I stuck with the purling, but as you can see, it's not noticeable at all, and it doesn't change the broken rib or the twisted rib sections, so it's not that big of a deal to me. It's just changing how you set up the garter rows, and yeah. So I'll put some notes about what I'm doing there in my Ravelry project page. I don't know how in-depth I can go because it is a paid-for pattern, so I don't want to like put in a bunch of information. I did basically like rewrite out the pattern in my own notes. I use my iPad for my patterns, so I like whited out some stuff and then like completely changed out. So like here's my iPad, and I can show you. So like this is kind of how I wrote up on my Purl Beret pattern. So I was like checking off rows as I got to them, and then making, for the longer stockinette stitch sections, I was just making tally marks so you could kind of see where I was, or I could kind of see where I was. And then for things that are bigger like the MKAL, I can like really mark it up. I've used a white marker to kind of erase the things that I wasn't going to be doing, and basically like changing out the letter P for the letter K anywhere I was changing the purls to knits and things like that, just so I could have something to reference and I wasn't just kind of going off a vague post in a forum. But it's working up really well, and it's definitely going a lot quicker than if I had stuck with the original pattern and done all purls. The other thing with the MKAL is I'm getting pretty low on my main color. I didn't realize this when I bought it, but my main color, which is Northern Bee Sturdy Sock in Wine on the Dock, which is an 80-20 two-ply. And my other ones, which are all less traveled, 757, which is 75-25, It's a 4-ply. I didn't realize that the Northern Bee is about 60 yards less than the less traveled, so across 2 skeins I have about 120 less yards of yarn, which is kind of a lot. So I don't know where other people are with their balls of yarn, but this is my second ball of my main color, and I still have 2 more of these garter short row sections to go with it. So I don't know exactly what clue 4 will look like, but if there is a lot of main color, which I think there'll be more accent color than main color, not accent, contrast color, which, let me see my contrast color again. I think there'll be more of this, considering I have a ball and a half left of this, and I guess I still have to do the cable section, but it could be like a 50-50 split. So what I might do is I'll have to see what the section looks like and how much yarn it looks like I have left. But for the clue 3, like, long section, the I-cords I would still do in this, but for the long section I might do it in this color and then switch out, or I'll just do it in my normal colors, and if I need to, go get another skein of this. Kind of unsure of what I want to do, so I might try to finish clue 2 before clue 4 comes out, and then maybe do some of the I-cord embellishments as well, and then see what clue 4 looks like before I decide what I'm going to be doing with yarn and going forward. But yeah, so hold it up one last time just to see it in all its glory. It is getting really big. It's going to be really hard to hold up soon. But yeah, so that's my MKAL. I love my colors, so that is what's motivating me on it right now, because I don't really know exactly what the finished product will look like yet. And I also have it in this project bag, which is the only project bag I've made for myself. I was thinking of taking up sewing, so I got a cheap sewing machine and got some scrap fabrics, and made a project bag. And I did enjoy it. I just the whole process of like cutting fabric out and pinning it together, like, I like the actual sewing, but all the setup that goes into sewing, like knitting doesn't have all that setup. You basically just cast on and then you spend the majority of your time knitting. There's so much setup that goes into sewing, and I was not a huge fan of that, but I probably will do more sewing in the future. I think it'd be really cool to not have to buy as much from fast fashion and things like that. So yeah, so this is my project bag. It's a really good size for like a big shawl or a sweater, because a lot of the project bags I have are more sock size, so this is my nice mid-size project bag. But yeah, that's my MKAL. And now it is safe for anyone who had to skip forward to come back, and I'll go on to my last whip, which is a new cast on, and also has an acquisition for it. So I made the single malt sweater for my fiance a few weeks ago. I think I talked about it in my first episode. So I was scrolling Instagram one day, and the designer of that sweater, Maxim, who is Max the Knitter on Instagram, had posted that he has matching socks that go with the sweater, called the Whisky Neat socks. So immediately I was like, oh, I should make those to go with the sweater, because I typically knit more socks for my fiance anyways. So I went to my local yarn store and I got this less traveled yarn in the Arcadia DK base, which is 100% merino, non-superwash, so it's a little bit more rustic feeling. And it is in the color Nightfall, so it's like a dark gray. And yeah, it's only a 50-gram skein, so I had to get 2 of them, but this is the yarn that he picked out to kind of match the sweater, since that's also gray. But the cast on is in this little project bag, which is just one I got from Michael's. This one's kind of nice though, because it has like more of a plasticky interior, so it feels a little waterproof. But here's the sock so far. All I have done, ooh, my yarn is so twisted. All I have done is the toe. I'm just gonna untwist the yarn quick. since it's kind of cutting in front of it. But yeah, so here's what I have so far. This was another, I think I cast this on Wednesday or Thursday. This was another, like, I need a mental break from my MKAL sort of project, and I was really excited to wind up the yarn and use it. So it's really interesting though, the entire bottom of the foot, besides the toe, is in reverse stockinette, so it's all pearls on the outside, and then the top of the foot is in the pattern. So yeah, it's really interesting so far. I really like working DK socks because they work up really quickly. And this is the first time I'm doing a pattern sock. I've only done vanilla socks up to this point, so that's really interesting to me as well. And I've done Knitty Natty's Perfect Fit sock course, so I've done a lot of like tailored vanilla socks. So this will be the first time I'm doing like more of a generic pattern fit, and then also having, you know, the pattern of the sock on it. The one thing I will probably modify in it though is that it uses an afterthought heel, which I've done before and I'm not a huge fan, and I'll probably switch that out for like a German Shirtbreak heel, or I'm not sure if I could do Fish Lips Kiss heel in a toe-up sock, but if I could, I also like that heel a lot, so probably going to do one of those. Not entirely sure yet though. So, but this is the sock so far. Not too far along. Since it is patterned, I probably won't be bringing it out places with me. I tend to like more stockinette or easier patterns when I go out places, so probably won't be too much of a travel sock, but definitely more of like a mental break sock that I can have at home when I don't want to work on my larger projects. One of the things that's been getting harder about the MKAL is it's just getting so large, it's hard to like move around, and so sometimes I just want something smaller that I'm not like having to untangle all the time. So that is my last whip, and also the acquisition because I got the yarn for it. So there's that. I did have one other small acquisition that is mildly knitting related, but not like a knitting notion or anything. So I got these AdKnit gift tags, and here, I'll pull them out of the packaging. They say I used the good yarn on the front, and then on the back they have to, from, fiber, and then care, so you can mark like hand wash, machine wash, dry flat, or tumble dry low. I thought these were a little bit nicer than just giving the yarn label to my family. And also I thought that I used the good yarn was a really cute little thing, because I typically do like to get nicer yarn for my family's projects. So yeah, those are just cute. I put one on my dad's muscle burrow, and we'll probably put one on my mom's beret when I give that to her. So I think that's all I had for acquisitions. I have one other more life thing that's knitting related, and then a few other like normal life things, so pretty much done with projects now though. So the first life thing that's knitting related is I was looking at my local yarn store's website last night, and they had just posted that they're going to be starting an in-person knit-along, which is really exciting. I've only done a few knit-alongs, and they've all been virtual. I've done Sockmas last year, which was my first one. I did Sock Week. Partially, I knitted a sock during it, but I didn't get to do any of the events. And I'm doing the MKAL now. So those are the only knit-alongs I've done, and I've been trying to find like a knitting group in my area, but I haven't really found too much. So I'm very excited because it's going to be like 2.5 months of Saturdays meeting up and working on a project together, which will be really, really fun. It's kind of they call it a choose your own adventure Cowl. So there'll be 2 sweater patterns to choose from, either the Sprite by Andrea Mowry or the Easy V by Caitlin Hunter. And they have yarn kits or yarn kind of picked out already for both of those. So all you have to do to participate in it is buy the yarn, and then you can come every Saturday and hang out and work on it. So I'm leaning towards the Easy V by Caitlin Hunter just because I love color work more than I like texture or cabling, and I have not done a V-neck sweater before because I was terrified to work flat, and I'm kind of overcoming that with my MKAL doing a massive shawl. So I'm leaning towards the Easy V. I think the color works gorgeous, and they have a purpley maroon with like a white base yarn kit. So I'm leaning towards that one because, as you can probably tell by this and my MKAL, I really like maroon. It's such a pretty fall winter color, so that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Yeah, let me know if you have any, if you've made either of them and you think one of them is more fun to make or something like that. I know the sprite pattern is fairly new, but yeah, so I'm very excited about that. That'll start not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. So in 2 podcasts, I should have more info or progress, a started project to show you. So yeah, so that's super exciting. And that was my last knitting related thing. So just gonna wrap up with a couple random other life things. Last week I visited my family in Wisconsin, and I gave my dad the muscle burrow that I made him. This hat was like a replacement hat for him. I had made him one last year before I knew how to knit, so it was actually a crochet. I think it was like the single crochet beanie by Purl Soho, and the way the increases worked, it was a fingering weight crochet hat, and the way the increases worked made it come to like kind of a point. And then also I was trying it on my fiance to get like length and fit and everything, and I realized later when my dad tried on my muscle burrow hat that I should have been trying it on myself because my hat fit him perfectly. So I gave him the muscle burrow. It fits perfectly. Definitely a replacement for the other hat. He'll probably give me the other hat back. I'll see if I can take out some of the like plain crochet rows and shorten it so that it'll kind of tug down and pull down the point. But as of right now, he has the muscle burrow, and that's a much better hat for him. So it's DK double layered, so can't get much warmer than that. He's bald, so have to have a warm hat. And then this weekend, my mom is coming down on the train, and we're going to go see a show in Chicago, and I'm going to be giving her the beret for her birthday. She had asked for one because she's about to go do some traveling, and she wanted a cute little beret to wear while she does that. So wanted to get that done for her birthday. I will see her in a couple weeks before she actually goes traveling, but I needed a mental break anyways, and that pattern was super quick. So, and I thought it would be nice to give it to her this weekend when I see her, although it will be like 75 tomorrow, so I don't think she'll be wearing a wool beret, but who knows? It's on October 75, not on August 75, so it's probably going to still feel cold. But yeah, so that's kind of the one other little life thing I had. Like I said, it is going to be 70 today and like 75 the next few days, which is going to be so weird because it's been 40 to 60 the past couple weeks, and I've finally gotten to pull like all my knitwear out, and I don't want to put it back yet. I mean, not that I would fully put it back, but I've been really happy wearing it, and so I want to keep wearing it. But yeah, so that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below, and if you want to get notified when I post again in the future, I'm going to be trying to post weekly. I've been able to keep up with that so far, and this video is coming out a little bit later. I filmed a little bit later in the week than normal. Then hit the subscribe button, and also, like I said, I'm on Instagram and Ravelry, so you can find more info about my projects there and more of what I'm knitting on during the week. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.